Hello, welcome to another edition of the Willy Bragg Show. I'm your host, Willy Bragg, and I would like to discuss the US Supreme Court. I know that doesn't sound particularly exciting or sexy or something like that, but I think it kind of frankly needs to be discussed because we can't have nice things in this country because of this present-day Supreme Court. And we're going backwards because of this damn Supreme Court. And, this is an area where I think that if you're any kind of a progressive, whether even if you're some semblance of a shit lib or dirtbag leftist or whatever you want to be, if you got any commitment to seeing something that's going to be good for everybody in this country, you want to see this court change for the better. The only reversal for this court that will be good is a reverse back to the days of the Earl Warren Court. That's my take on that, because if you're not familiar with the Earl Warren time period from the 1950s until I think it was like 1953. I'm trying to remember when Earl Warren became Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. It wasn't in the 1950s. It was just prior to the Brown versus Board of Education. But anyway, the point is that it was that same Warren Court that saw the greatest expansion of personal rights, civil liberties, freedom of speech, basically constitutional rights of people, protections from abuses of government. And since the Warren Court came to an end in 1969, although Warren Burger, his successor, was basically the continuation of the Warren Court, but in a slightly slower pace, there was some setbacks that took place during that court time period. Things like Buckley versus Valerio, which was a major step backwards, and then you have the Rehnquist court, and you have the current Roberts court right now, and think about it is that there are occasional gains even in reactionary courts, but now we're seeing some really horrible things happening in terms of what's happened this past summer with Roe versus Wade being gone. And so what's happening now with that in that regard, we are likely to see some more things happening for the worse. Clarence Thomas talked about, revisiting the issue of, was it Obergefell, the decision that legalized same-sex marriage in all 50 states, for example. Things of that nature. But it's not just the social issues that are at hand. We're talking about things like labor rights. We're talking about things like dealing with economics and tax policies and anything that was a gain starting back in the days of Roosevelt, that we're in danger of going back to what is called the Lochner period, where basically it basically cemented what was the Gilded Age and all of that. So that's what I wanted to discuss, and what can we do to go and reverse this trend and to defeat to basically defeat the person that's actually the biggest roadblock to progress right now. And so that's what I want to discuss. And so basically it goes like this. Well, it will go like this, that in the 1930s, Franklin Roosevelt had some problems trying to get his New Deal legislation passed, certain aspects of it passed. So there were attempts to pack the courts, and it was put to a stop at the time. It was put to a stop, and there's nothing really saying that you cannot. It's not unconstitutional it doesn't go against the Constitution, basically, to pack the courts. You can theoretically put as many justices on the courts as you want, or limit the number for what I can tell. And honestly, the court's been politicized for so long, and all of that. And here's the thing: you hear it from Republicans and right wingers all the time. Oh well, the liberals just want to create an activist court, so we're going to fight those liberals by putting our own people in there and having our own activists. And that's what they are. They're acting like they're not activists themselves, but the right wing have an activist court themselves. They want to legislate their right-wing vision, right-wing social engineering from the right, from the courts. They want to do it from legislatively. They want to do it from the executive branch. They want to do it from the courts, just like the so-called liberals that they accuse of doing. So don't let the Republican Party hacks and talking heads on Fox News convince you otherwise. I'm providing you honest analysis on this. So is there any truth to what passed for liberalism here in the United States of people trying to do it through the courts? Sure. But let's don't get it twisted. Let's don't act like that the conservatives are honorable and just want everything to be, run smoothly through constitutional guidelines and let everything just progress naturally. They have their own agenda, their own vision, their own ideology that they like to pursue, and they don't care. They will run over the Constitution to make sure it happens too. I'm here, as I said, I'm here to go and tell you the truth when it comes to these matters. So So I just want to say that I gave a lot of thought, long and hard thought about this, and our present Supreme Court is illegitimate due to the authoritarianism of, well, as I said, let's don't get it twisted. As I said before, it is our Supreme Court. I mean, it is. I mean, we are held hostage. I keep doing that. I'm going to save that for later. Sorry about that. We're held hostage politically by this man, Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, who is very authoritarian. This man is the reason why our country is garbage right now in the court system. And so, and what do I mean by that with regard to Mitch McConnell? Because he is a garbage human being. I mean, Mitch McConnell, I actually think Mitch McConnell is the highest elected worst person in this country right now. I mean, you hear me talk about corporate Democrats like Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton and all of these folks over the years, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. You hear me talk about Dianne Feinstein, and you hear me talk about Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. All these folks are horrible in the Democratic Party. And you hear me talk about Ted Cruz. You hear me talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. You hear me talk about Ron DeSantis as the governor of Florida. You hear me talk about these people. They're horrible. Donald Trump, horrible. All of them, horrible. Nobody's more horrible than Mitch McConnell. Because it's like this. No matter who's the president, regardless of the party, no matter what the makeup of the U.S. House of Representatives, no matter what the makeup of the U.S. Senate is, no matter how many governors are blue or red, or the state legislature, or whatever the political composition is in this country, veering red or blue. Somehow, some way, Mitch McConnell gets his way. The country is garbage right now because Mitch McConnell gets his way. Mitch McConnell is one of the most corrupt individuals, and the only talking head I've ever heard that actually had anything nice to say about Mitch McConnell was Rush Limbaugh. Consider the fucking source. Consider the fucking source. So, and Mitch McConnell is the reason why the Supreme Court, is profound garbage today. So let me begin essentially at the beginning here, and we're in our modern age where everything started to go wrong in the last decade. In 2016, early 2016, Associate Justice Anthony Scalia passed away, had a heart attack. I am no fan of the late Anthony Scalia. On a human-to-human level, I'm sorry he died, but I was no fan of his. I respect him in only one sense, that he might have been a brilliant legal scholar. I will give him that, but I disagreed with his judicial philosophy. He was appointed by Reagan, and he was, as I said, Supreme Court justice from the 1980s until, I think it was like 1986 he was appointed, until his death in 2016. Mitch McConnell basically came up with a rule. Year before the presidential election, we can't nominate or replace a Supreme Court justice. It's not right to do this before on the presidential election, especially on the year before the presidential election. That's what he did. Obama was thinking about Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland is a horrible person. He's now the Attorney General. I mean, he's a centrist. I mean, I'm not particularly keen on him, but honestly, no matter who's president, regardless of the party makeup, the procedure is this. When somebody retires from the Supreme Court or somebody dies while they're in the courts, the president goes and appoints somebody to replace that justice. And the Senate's supposed to have a hearing and do a hearing, do a series of questions, and then they go and vote to confirm the justice, yay or nay. Mitch McConnell wouldn't even grant a hearing when he was Senate Majority Leader. And why? I mean, he had a comfortable Republican majority. He wouldn't even allow that. This is authoritarianism right there. Authoritarianism 101. On that alone, I think that Mitch McConnell's position, I think he should be removed from the Senate for undermining the constitutional procedures and all of that. Yeah, what he did, it was basically to undermine the Constitution by undermining the mechanisms of our U.S. government, undermining the checks and balances. So he did this with the intention of hoping with the 2016 election that there would be a change in the party makeup in the White House. And of course, we all know what happened in the 2016 election. We didn't get Bernie Sanders, obviously, and Hillary Clinton lost, and Donald Trump won. And of course, Donald Trump appointed Neil Gorsuch as the Supreme Court Justice. All right, so there you have it. So Donald Trump was our president. He was a one-term president. Before, like 2 years ago this month, a little over 2 years ago, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You remember her, don't you? Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She, let's see, what was I going to say about her? Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Where are you? I can't find you. I can't find her. I can't find a photo of her. What the hell? Okay, I will find her. I will find her. Hold on a second. Okay. For some reason, I always lose a photo of the people I'm trying to find lately. It's something along the software. But I will correct that right now. But anyhow, getting back to what I was going to say regarding Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Here she is. Okay. There she is. Okay. She died just before the 2016 election. Now, Mitch McConnell in 2016 would not have a hearing. He was Senate Majority Leader. He would not have a hearing because it was just not right, according to him, prior to a presidential election to go and have a Supreme Court justice appointed to the court. And then just before the election, all of a sudden, he was like, we're going to go rush and get a hearing. And Donald Trump appointed Amy Coney Barrett. And he went and they rushed through and got Amy Coney Barrett into the court before the 2016 election. So he went back and did a 180% flip backwards on his word. He fucking lied. And all of a sudden, we have two illegitimate people in the U.S. Supreme Court. We have Neil Gorsuch and we have Amy Coney Barrett. They should be removed from the court because of what Mitch McConnell done. They should be impeached, removed from the court. They have no business in the courts, as far as I'm concerned. Now, what should be done, in my opinion? What should be done? Well, I would say this. I would say that right now, what should be done is to go and, I would say, do the right thing with regard to what needed to be done back in the days of Roosevelt. Roosevelt had the right idea. I thought I was kind of against the idea of packing the courts. And people kept on accusing that Biden was going to come in there and pack the courts. They kept on doing that. I would have a hell of a lot more respect for Joe Biden if he just decided, fuck it, we're going to go and pack the courts with 3 or 4 justices. And they kept on saying, they're saying, he's going to go and pack the courts. I kept on hearing from right-wing Republicans in the last 2 years, he's going to go and pack the courts. He's not even trying to do this. There's not even any budget. If anything, he went and cucked himself before Mitch McConnell and promised Mitch McConnell that if you confirm, he should confirm this justice. I promise to appoint another a pro-life justice or something. I mean, that's Justice Brown. You point, I mean, that was the deal. You think that Mitch McConnell's going to keep his word? Joe Biden, you shouldn't have done that. But Joe Biden, that's the kind of person Joe Biden is. He was this way as a senator. He was a both sides person. People think he's this radical socialist that's possessed demonically by Bernie Sanders and AOC, who are not radical and who are very disappointing at this point. But people think that they're radical and they think that Joe Biden is just like Bernie Sanders and AOC and even the snake Elizabeth Warren, who's not radical at all, even less radical than Bernie and AOC. It's not that Bernie and AOC are bad on policies, but they've been cucked by the system. But my point is this. That Joe Biden, if he had any integrity, but Joe Biden would get my hard respect if he goes and to say, fuck y'all Republicans. We're going to go and pack the courts because what you did was bullshit. What Mitch McConnell did was bullshit by not allowing Obama to appoint Garland. And y'all did a 180 flip with the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and you rushed an appointment, did exactly the opposite of what you did previously 4 years earlier. But Joe Biden won't do that because Joe Biden is, he's a centrist and he's a wimp, and he's a corporate Democrat at the end of the day who, he's got great health care and he's not going to have any real problems in life. So other than growing old and getting dementia. So my solution is, if Joe Biden decides to do this, and he won't, is to pack the courts with 3 or 4 more justices. And on just the idea of proposing and hearing the right wing have a burst of blood vessel based, to go and do that. If you can't do that, at least do a 10-year term limit on these court justices. Do something to stop the right wing. I would say do a combination. Appoint 3 to 4 more justices and put a retroactive 10-year term limit. And that way, you can put a stop to the right wing direction, the right wing grift of the direction of the court. That's what you need to do. Because there will be a time, if there is a time that if the squad, for example, grows into 50 people or 100, and they're as radical as the right wing claims they are, or as his left wing supporters hope for them to be, and if there's 20 successors to Bernie Sanders down the road, like in the US Senate later on, I'm saying if this happens, and there's a strong left-wing, strong social democratic movement that can take on both the Republicans and the corporate Democrats, and something like a Medicare for all bill comes into the desk of a president sympathetic to Medicare for all, you will want a court that will make damn sure that Medicare for all passed the Constitution test. And this present Supreme Court will probably strike such a law down if it stays on the course that it is. And that's kind of my point right there. So I would say after, I was against it for a while, of the idea of packing the courts. Not because it was a slippery slope argument. What if you get Ron DeSantis as your president? But at this point, we're headed right wing we're headed toward the right anyway. But if we have a fighting chance and the Republicans fuck up and everything, I think the Republicans are going to take over the House in the fall. And the only good thing about it is if the Republicans win the House and the Senate, the Democrats might keep the White House in 2024, because people will see how crazy the Republicans are. Usually that's how it works. Not always, but that's how it works mostly. So it's a gamble, I guess. And I'm still thinking about this. And I guess maybe at a minimum 10 years term limits. But I say let's get the conversation going about packing the courts. And let's finish the work of Franklin Roosevelt. What do y'all think? Give me your insight. Give me your answers on this. I'd like to know what you think about this. So right now, we have I can't pronounce Russian, so I'm sorry. Privet. Okay. All right. Oh, they're gonna think we're under Russian control. Oh no. Woo. Artie says, my man, hey, how are you doing? Good show. Oh, I appreciate your support. I appreciate your support. I guess that's it for the chat lines there. If you all like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree with what I have to say, comment anyway. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Feel free to also follow me, subscribe to me on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, which you'll find me on Twitter at this point, fairly often. Also, go ahead and also keep checking on Rumble. I'm planning to start working on Rumble. I'm planning to start putting stuff up on Rumble. Got to figure things out. I know you're tired of hearing me say that, but there will be material on Rumble, I promise. Let's see what else I'm going to say. An announcement. I'm like 90% sure that I'm going to be there, but on October 8th in Washington, D.C., there will be a march, Actions for Assange. And I will talk more about that. I'm planning to attend, so maybe we can do a meetup if anybody's planning to attend. I plan to be out there, and I will definitely give you a thumbs up whether I'm going or not. Right now, we're going to say 90% chance that I'm going to be there. I haven't been to a protest in years. My work schedule sometimes doesn't permit me to go like I would like to go, that sort of thing. But having that said, that I am planning to attend this because I've always supported Julian Assange, and I hope if you're in the Washington area, or even if you have to drive a little bit, if it's not too much trouble, come on down to DC or come up to DC, and let's all in solidarity give our support for Assange at the US Department of Justice. And I'll give y'all more details later on. It's going to be called Actions for Assange and all of that. So there is that. And some more announcements. On Thursday, Dwight Welch and myself will be not debating, but we'll be having a discussion about the toxicity of Christian nationalism. And that's going to be 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this coming Thursday. Let's see, today's Monday, 19, 20. I guess it'll be September 22nd. Yeah, September 22nd at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be pretty much an hour, more or less. Saturday at 6 p.m. Hopefully we'll have Justin Adio on our show, and we're going to go back to resuming to having guests. We just been in this little situation where I've been having a gap on having guests for a while, but we should be having guests again on a normal basis. So there is that. And we want to let you know to always reject corporate media, because corporate media has nothing to offer any of us, not a damn thing. And until next time, I will conclude by saying to you all, music. So here we go. Music.